press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Namaste children. In our previous class we discussed about the structure of brain and also the functions of forebrain. In that we discussed only cerebrum. So in this class we will discuss the functions of other parts of the brain. Understood? Before going to that, I will draw once again the diagram of brain. So in the last class we already discussed about the structure of brain. This is cerebellum. So this is cerebrum, corpus, this is sagittal section of brain. In the last class we discussed about the cerebrum. There are two cerebral hemispheres, right and left cerebral hemispheres, which are connected with each other with a corpus callosum. And the cerebrum, outer part of the cerebrum contains grey matter and inner part contain white matter. The cerebrum contains three functional areas. It contains three functional areas. One is sensory area, another one is motor area, another one is associated areas. So the cerebrum contains three functional areas. Yavudavadu sensory area, motor area and associated areas or association areas. So in the sensory areas, all the sensory impulses are analyzed like touch, temperature, cold, that are all analyzed in sensory areas. Whereas in motor areas, motor signals are going to be generated. So like it's Broca's area. This is the area where motor impulses are generated that regulates movement of tongue and speech. And coming to associated areas, why it got name associated means here we are not able to classify neurons as sensory or motor. They are neither motor nor sensory. They are mixed. Adike now that area is called associated areas. It regulates functions like sensory communication, and memory, so these associated areas, so what they'll do, intersensory communication means all the sensory impulses will reach the brain, will enter the brain. Then the impulses, all the sensory impulses like smell, touch, cold, temperature, every impulses or every signals will enter into the brain where they are associated and interconnected each other to interpret properly. That happens in intersensory communication or intersensory area. Now one footnote idankale saliva, the secretion of saliva increases. When we taste it, smellu gottagutte, taste gottagutte. So all that signals are associated and interconnected before they interpret properly. That happens in intersensory communication. Whereas in memory area, the recent memories are going to be recorded. That happens in memory with other parts of the cerebral cortex. This memory area helps to record the recent and past events. It records the events. There are two types of memory, short-term memory and long-term memory. And these associated areas are also helps to they have ability to control communication. So this is about the functions of cerebrum. Then coming to thalamus. So thalamus and hypothalamus, they come under diencephalon. They come under diencephalon. All three come under forebrain. This is sagittal section of brain. So thalamus and hypothalamus, they both are part of diencephalon. Diencephalon is present in the posterior part of the forebrain. In that thalamus, it acts as a coordinating center for motor and sensory signaling. It is a coordinating center for motor and sensory signaling, and it acts as a relay center. It is a relay center for all the sensory signals except olfaction, except smell antano agutte, except olfaction or smell. It is a relay center for all the sensory signals entering into brain. Entering into brain before entering into cortex. So, thalamus, it is a coordinating center for both motor and sensory signaling. It is a relay center. All the sensory impulses should enter into the thalamus before they enter into cerebral cortex. So that's why the gatekeeper of brain antanu heltare, because all the sensory signals should enter thalamus before entering into the cerebral cortex, except olfaction or smell. This will not enter into thalamus. So this is the two functions of thalamus. Understood? Next we'll go with hypothalamus. So hypothalamus is present below the thalamus, and this hypothalamus, it contains centers for controlling body temperature. It contains centers for controlling body temperature, that is thermoregulation. And also it controls urge for eating and drinking. These are the two main functions of hypothalamus. It controls body temperature. It helps to maintain constant internal body temperature, and also it is having centers to control urge for eating and drinking. Here one more structure is there, that is limbic lobe or limbic system. The inner part of the cerebral hemispheres, and with other deeper associated structures form a system called limbic lobe or system. Limbic lobe or system. So this is formed by thalamus, hypothalamus, amygdala and hippocampus. So these are the main structures which are present in limbic system. With these other associated areas are also present. Associated antandre there is the neurons cannot be classified, either they are sensory or motor neurons. So in the limbic system, limbic lobe or limbic system, main components are thalamus, hypothalamus, amygdala and hippocampus. Hypothalamus with the limbic system with limbic lobe controls functions like sexual behavior, and expression of emotional reactions like fear, rage, pleasure, excitement, etc. And also it controls motivation. So these are all the functions controlled by hypothalamus with the limbic system. Hypothalamus with the limbic system controls functions like sexual behavior, expression of emotional reactions like fear and the bhaya, rage means kopa, pleasure, santosha and excitement, and it also helps to control motivation. Then one more important function in the limbic system is hippocampus lobe. Hippocampus lobe, it is the area where short-term memory will be converted into long-term memory. Nenpitkobeku, these are all your competitive questions. Short-term memory will convert into long-term memory. It's the function of hippocampus lobe, where short-term memory will be converted into long-term memory. That is about the thalamus and hypothalamus. Thalamus, where it acts as a relay center for all the sensory impulses entering into brain, except smell. Hypothalamus, it controls, it is having a centers that control the functions like body temperature, urge for eating and drinking. Hypothalamus with the limbic system, it controls sexual behavior and expression of emotional reactions, also motivation. Hippocampus lobe in the limbic system helps to convert short-term memory into long-term memory. That is about forebrain. Then we will go with the midbrain. So the midbrain is present between the thalamus and hypothalamus and above the hindbrain. In the midbrain, we see cerebral aqueduct, so that connects third ventricles to fourth ventricles, and it contains and it the midbrain contains cerebral aqueduct. See, this one is cerebral aqueduct. So, this is a duct tunnel which helps to transfer fluid from one area to another area. So, this cerebral aqueduct brain, so it connects third ventricles with the fourth ventricles. Then what are ventricles? Ventricles are cavities present in the brain. Ventricles are cavities present in the brain. We have cavities under the space present in the brain. We have two cerebral ventricles. We have two lateral cerebral ventricles. This is first ventricle athwa first and second ventricles present in cerebrum. Third ventricle is present in diencephalon, that means in a thalamus and hypothalamus region, and fourth ventricle is present in medulla oblongata. This is fourth ventricle, this is third ventricle. So that cerebral aqueduct connects third with the fourth ventricle. See, this is cerebral aqueduct. Understood? So what are ventricles? The cavities present in the brain are called ventricles. They are filled with cerebrospinal fluid. So, ಇಲ್ಲಿ cerebral aqueduct ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? It is connecting third ventricle present in the diencephalon region with the fourth ventricle present in the medulla. So, that connects third ventricles with the fourth ventricles. That is cerebral aqueduct. So, cerebral aqueduct connects third ventricles with the fourth ventricles, and also it contains four round swellings or lobes called corpora quadrigemina. In the dorsal portion of the midbrain, we see four round swellings. They are called corpora. Quadri means four, quadrigemina, and it controls, it regulates and integrates visual, tactile and auditory inputs. So this one is the function of midbrain. This is about the structure of midbrain. That is about midbrain. So ಇದು ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. Ventricles are nothing but they are the cavities present in the brain where cerebrospinal fluid is present. The cerebral aqueduct which passes through the midbrain connects third ventricle with the fourth ventricle. Understood? Then coming to the another important part of the brain, that is hindbrain. So this hindbrain consists of pons, medulla oblongata and cerebellum. The pons contains transverse nerve fibers and longitudinal nerve fibers. Pons contain transverse nerve fibers and longitudinal nerve fibers. The longitudinal nerve fibers of pons help, it connects midbrain with the medulla oblongata or cerebrum with the medulla oblongata, whereas transverse nerve fibers connects pons with the cerebellum. It connects pons with the cerebellum. And pons, what's the function of pons? It regulates breathing reactions. It regulates breathing reactions with pneumotaxic center. So ನಿಮಗೆ ಬ್ರೀತಿಂಗ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಟರಿ ಚಾಪ್ಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ. The pons, it regulates breathing reactions with pneumotaxic center. That means when carbon dioxide level increases in our blood, so it regulates breathing reactions. And another part is cerebellum. Cerebellum, it is considered as second largest part of the brain, or little brain antanu heltare, and second largest part of the brain, where its surface is convoluted. Its surface is convoluted to increase the accommodation, or to increase the space for the accumulation of more neurons. The outer part of the cerebellum contains gray matter and inner part contains white matter. This white matter gives a tree-like appearance. So these branches gives a tree-like appearance called arbor vitae. What is arbor vitae? The white matter of the cerebellum gives a tree-like appearance, that is called arbor vitae. And this cerebellum, it controls body equilibrium. It maintains body equilibrium. Also, it contains centers for coordination of muscular movements. Okay, cerebellum, it's the second largest part of the brain. It's also called little brain. Its surface is convoluted so that more number of neurons can occupy this part, and the outer part of the cerebellum is made up of gray matter. Gray means it contains cell bodies and dendrites, and inner part is white matter, which gives tree-like appearance called arbor vitae. The function of cerebellum is it maintains body equilibrium, and also it is having centers for coordination of muscular movements. So in the alcoholic persons, or in chronic alcoholics, the alcohol which acts on cerebellum, when alcohol will act on cerebellum, hagagi in that patient there is no coordination in the muscular movements, hagagi their walking will be disturbed. Why in alcoholic patients walking will be disturbed? Because alcohol acts on cerebellum, which affects the functioning of cerebellum. Hagagi they lose the coordination between the muscles. That's why while walking it is going to be disturb them. It's the function of cerebellum. And midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata, all the three constitute brain stem. Yavyadu midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata forms a brain stem. That means they all lie in a same axis. Midbrain, pons and medulla, they lie in a brain stem. So they lie in a same axis. That's why they form a brain stem. Why? Because they lie midbrain, pons and medulla, they lie in the same axis. That's why they are considered as brain stem. And this medulla oblongata, it continues as spinal cord. Medulla oblongata continues as spinal cord. So this is function of cerebellum. Okay, So the white tree-like structure is called arbora vitae, and it has it controls body equilibrium, and cerebellum has the centers for coordination of muscular movements. Then coming to medulla, see this medulla oblongata, it continues as spinal cord through a opening called foramen magnum. It continues as spinal cord through a opening called foramen magnum, which is present at the center of the base of the skull. And main function of medulla oblongata, it controls functions like vomiting, respiration, cardiovascular and gastric reflexes. So the medulla oblongata controls functions like vomiting, respiration, cardiovascular and gastric reflexes. Hagagi, if any damage or impact occurs on the occipital lobe where medulla oblongata is present, death is going to occur because it controls main functions like respiration, cardiovascular and gastric reflexes. That is about medulla oblongata. So the medulla oblongata continues as spinal cord through a opening called foramen magnum present at the base of the skull, and medulla functions, it controls the functions like vomiting, respiration, cardiovascular and gastric reflexes. So this is about the structure of brain and functions of different parts of the brain. Then we will move with spinal cord. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. So we already know that medulla oblongata continues as spinal cord through an opening foramen magnum, and the spinal cord enters into the vertebrae. It enters into the vertebrae. The vertebrae which contains spinal cord is called neural canal. The vertebrae which contains spinal cord is called neural canal. And even spinal cord is also covered by three protective coverings: dura mater, arachnoid mater and pia mater, and a cerebrospinal fluid which is present that prevents the friction of spinal cord against the vertebrae. And there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. The nerves which arise from the spinal cord are called spinal nerves. We have 31 pairs. So 8 pairs are cervical, and 12 pairs of spinal nerves are thoracic, 5 pairs of lumbar, sacral again we have 5 pairs, and coccygeal is 1 pair. So totally we have 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Then what's the function of spinal cord? There are 3 main functions with this spinal cord. It acts as a bridge. It acts as a bridge between brain and organs of a body. Between brain and organs of a body. It provides relay path for impulses coming from brain. Another important function that we'll discuss in the next class, that it regulates and conducts reflex actions. It regulates and conducts reflex actions. So these three are very important function of spinal cord. It acts as a bridge between the brain and organs of a body. It provides relay path for the impulses coming from the brain, and it regulates and conducts reflex actions. That's about spinal cord. Next note ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. That means the longest cranial nerve is vagus nerve, and the smallest cranial nerve is abducens nerve, and the largest cranial nerve is trigeminal nerve. Longest cranial nerve is vagus nerve, smallest cranial nerve is abducens nerve, largest cranial nerve is trigeminal nerve. It is also called dentist nerve. Why it is called dentist nerve antandra? Trigeminal. Tri means it is having three branches. One is ophthalmic branch, another one is maxillary branch, and mandibular branch. So tri means three. It is having three branches: ophthalmic, maxillary, and mandibular. So this is roughly I will draw. So the ophthalmic, it supplies to the eyes. Ophthalmic branches supply to the eyes. Maxillary branch will supply to the maxilla, and mandibular branch will supply to the mandible. So this is maxilla, this is mandible. So ophthalmic branch will supply to eyes. Maxillary branch will supply to maxilla, and mandibular branch will supply to mandible, where teeth are present. So when dentist has to extract the damaged teeth, he has to anesthetize maxillary and mandibular nerve. ಹುಳುಕಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಹಲ್ಲನ್ನು ತೆಗೆಯುವಾಗ ಡೆಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, they have to give anesthetic for this maxillary and mandibular nerve before extracting that tooth. That's why this trigeminal nerve is also called dentist nerve. Understood? So next class we'll discuss about reflex actions. Thank you.